There we are. I believe that is live. I think.
Oh, look, it says live.
Yeah, we're live.
Yep.
For
Just
about
making
20
sure
seconds.
the link's working. Yep. Yeah, we are. Perfect. So, welcome everyone. This is the General Barkov interview. This is Konstantin Lavysh. Sorry, I'm really bad with pronouncing names.
Lavysh.
Please introduce yourself. Maybe we'll start with talking a little bit about yourself. You know, where you how you began your career as an actor.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Konstantin Lavysh, and I was born in the USSR in Minsk, Belarus. What is now Belarus used to be the evil empire and all that. Well, I don't know if it is anymore or not, but but so, Soviet born. I traveled to the States when I was quite young on one of those exchange programs, and that was right after breakdown of the wall in Berlin, Soviet Union falling apart.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating to sort of see what used to be referred to as the enemy inside, just living there with people just like us and all that. But then I went to diplomacy school, and I've done some of that work. But since I was a kid, I was always, one of those nuts who need to do stuff that's more active than diplomacy. And diplomacy felt like, James Bondish kind of thing. But it turned out to be something very different, something quite more, boring, frankly. So I moved to Los Angeles and decided to explore the passion that I've always had and some experience that I had in theater when I was younger. And sort of that. So
that's good. So what got you into becoming an actor then?
Well, sort of as a kid, it was more, oh, hey, kid, you want to perform? And I was, sure, because it was fun. As I grew older, it became a fascination because I think I was always a very shy kid. So this was always a thing you could do, become someone else or pretend to be someone else to then experience a completely different life and to not be judged for who you are, but instead to have the character be judged for who they are. And it's just the endless exploration of lives and worlds, which I'm always very fascinated with, exploring human psychology and people and how we're same but different and all that. So in acting, it's just this fountain of youth of sorts. You can just keep exploring.
Yeah, definitely. What would you consider the best aspect of your work then?
Best aspect? How? Like what?
Well, your voice acting, screen acting. I know you do a little bit of directing, writing.
Okay.
What's sort of your favorite aspect of it all?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think it's acting would be the one, just because I'm so attached to it. And in acting, it's interesting because it's a blend, right? You're telling a story as an actor. You're telling a story that's not yours in many regards, because you make it yours to be able to tell it. But the director really is the one telling the story using actors, and the team is really what makes the project happen. It's not any one person in particular. It's collaboration of everyone. So, but still acting, I think it's less responsibility.
That's true. That's very true. So if we talk a little bit about your voice work, of course, while you're here as General Barkov, how did that role come about? Did you obviously did they think you'd be perfect for the role, or did you like audition for it?
Oh, I auditioned for it. It was a bit surprising, really. I've read for this casting actor before, but when I got the part, the sides is what you get. You get sides, which is a scene. Sometimes it's specifically written for an audition, not to give away any of the script, which was the case here, I think. But it says general, and I'm a bit younger than someone who could be a general, and the part of this is described as someone quite formidable and scary looking and all that, and I didn't see myself as an option for that at all. But once you get a tape, or audition, you're lucky and you do a little happy dance and you go in. So when they had me for a callback and I saw some of those guys, them coming out, me coming in, and all that, I was like, yeah, this guy, this guy, they're amazing actors and they had the look and the whole thing. And so I was surprised when I got cast.
Yeah.
But it was a normal audition process. No, sorry, any of that.
Of course, you didn't know you were, auditioning for a Call of Duty character, were you?
No. Any of those projects I've done. Just recently, I've done Battlefield 2042. A little couple parts, but I didn't know what it was. Even during recording, and I even asked them, I'm like, at least tell me what it is. I'm like, no, you do your thing, it doesn't matter. So just recently, they're like, okay, it's actually this. I'm like, oh man, okay, all right.
Do you have any idea, like when you're doing it, then when you Call of Duty, did you have an idea when you were auditioning for it that it was Call of Duty, or do you just think it just a sort of generic role, or did you know it was a big part in the game?
It felt like a big part, and the attention it got from everybody, the writer, director, everybody was there, and in Infinity Ward, and it's a it felt like a big deal. And once we talked about it a little bit, it was obvious it's a big part, and then it was obvious what it is, because once you go to one of the studios that does the game, you kind of guess.
Yeah.
Because if it's just Activision, then it could be any one of those awesome games. But yeah. So I was guessing it was it, but I didn't know for sure.
So, I mean, our group and our members, we haven't actually interviewed an actor yet that has actually played a bad guy, so to speak. So, how was the role for you playing that type, or that type of character?
The main villain, even.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's it was. Well, there are two things. One is this big responsibility that you're feeling because it's such a huge world, and you are lucky enough to join it for any reason. You better sort of do your best. But being the villain and all, and some of the scary, terrible things that my character does are a bit unnerving. So it was a lot of work involved in making performance real, making character real, but yet do all those awful things. So it was a big challenge. I think the biggest one I faced and I like playing bad guys, but one thing is you're selling drugs or something, and and you never really do any. You'll shoot a guy, you'll kick some butt, but this is a whole different level. So it was difficult. Just sort of emotionally, but fun.
I think I would like to credit your role as Barkov. I really liked it. I think that the biggest part I could appreciate is that you actually spoke Russian, because it's like so easy to hire an American actor, just any sort of actor, and have them put a Russian accent. But having a Russian actor that speaks Russian is something that goes greatly unappreciated. So I don't know, what's your stance on that?
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. It's a thing that a lot of people don't really care about. I do very much. I think it's important in many cases to sort of have the authenticity, because it makes the project it just makes it better. I mean, it's a lot of the times I see that, and I've been doing this for some years now, and a lot of the times you see people cast in roles are nothing to do with the nationality or ethnicity they're portraying, which is fine, and we've had tons of conversations about it with other actors and producers and directors and all that. And you're basically two schools of thought. One is everything has to be original and real, and that's example that would be The Americans. It's an amazing show. If you haven't seen it, treat yourself. It's over, so you can watch the whole thing. And they made a special effort to make sure every prop on set, every person speaking would speak not just Russian, but Russian that's not accented by regional or foreign life or whatever else. No one really does that much. And the other school of thought is that, well, if I'm telling a story, I don't want to limit myself to anything. I'm telling a story the way I want to tell the story, and maybe in my eyes this is good enough.
Yep.
So I don't know. I like it when it's authentic, though. And then there's exceptions. You watch the Narcos, and the guy playing the guy is not he's not Colombian, but man, does he do a great job in Colombian accent? I was told yes. I don't know Spanish well enough for that, but so
Diego does.
yeah,
His
I mean,
Spanish is awful.
Is it awful?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really awful. I mean, the guy is Brazilian. The guy is Brazilian. The guy actually played that guy from Elite Squad. So hearing him speaking Spanish, it was like hearing a Brazilian guy speaking Spanish with an awful accent. So
okay,
yeah.
sorry. I was told he's doing a great job. I'm like, well, he looks amazing. But so yeah, but with this, yeah, if it's something like this and you get the guy and he is it. But he can speak. I don't know what's better. I prefer, especially for bad guys on TV, when they're Russian and they come out, or like you watch the Vikings last season, or you watch something else, and some guys would come out, they're Russian, and I can't understand what they're saying.
Correct.
And in the voiceover world, I've done a lot of looping and ADR when you revoice somebody, and that happens a lot because they'll shoot there'll be some guy from I don't know where, but I don't know what he's saying, and they're like, well, what's he saying? I don't know. And
Exactly.
so we'll look up the script and I'll revoice them because it doesn't make sense that it's just the
I think a lot of people that aren't necessarily British put on British accents. It gets to the point where it's quite an offensive accent they put on because they tend to talk like the sort of like a 1920s chimney sweep from London kind of, and they don't all speak like that.
No, of course.
I think it'd be the exact same way for Russian, because everyone just puts on this Russian accent that they've probably seen in a TV show themselves, and it gets to a point where it's borderline offensive, and it is definitely good to have representation in especially in this game. I mean, they did exactly the same with Vanguard as well, with Martin Coppin, with playing his character, and they could have quite easily got someone to put on an Australian accent. But I think it's really important to add that extra authenticity in a character. So it's definitely refreshing to know that they have done that with your character. Definitely. More on sort of that is. Did you obviously because you sort of you're from Russia, Belarus? Did you put any of your personal experiences into playing Barkov? Like anything that you went through, or of course you were in the middle of the Cold War, so to speak, at that time, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, my experiences, luckily enough, were not connected to dictator hanging people or any of that. But you basically. My philosophy in life was always been as an actor, always keep collecting, right? Always observe or analyze, not just read and watch, but also you can learn a lot from, people on the street or in the restaurant or anywhere. And with this, as a kid, of course, this giant empire all around us and all those patriotic films and all that. Yeah. And I've been around military for quite a bit. And there's a sense of this grandeur which I try to use for Barkov. It's the Soviet mega empire, which is all good and socialist and for the better of everyone. And so as Barkov, then I try to make myself feel like I'm this last thing that's preventing chaos in the world, because this is, we stand for something that's right, that's good. Mm-hmm. And then when it flips in 91 and we no longer stand for socialism because, oops, then what do you stand for? And it's, it's if all your life, and I've spoken to those people, I know those people, who went through the war, World War II, and they knew exactly what life is all about. Stand up for your land, save your people, and help, them survive. And then for whatever ideals are, socialism, communism. But then that's over and it's all about money now, and nothing else matters. And they were broken hearted, man. still are. So for someone like this to go rogue completely and just have, idealistically, like Lenin back in the day, let's have red terror and kill everybody who doesn't agree with us, but we'll build a beautiful state on their dead bodies. So hey, it's gonna be great. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So we could say that you took Barkov to means justify the end approach.
Do it. See?
Like the idea behind Barkov is that you're thinking this character says the means justify the end.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
Did you have any influence on how Barkov was portrayed? Did you say maybe we could say it a different way? And obviously his lines.
With I felt like I didn't have to, because we spoke to Brian Bloom and Taylor Kurosaki, and that's writer and director, and we were all on the same page because they created this. It's theirs. This whole Barkov is theirs. I just got lucky to be in those shoes, but very rarely did we have to change anything. When it came to speaking Russian or saying something, the logic of the language and military commands and all that, which I knew a little better, because I know the sort of the original authentic stuff, we were able to use some of it. But there was never an issue of like, oh no, that's not gonna. There was never a quarrel.
There. That's fair enough. Of course, you played, you voice acted in other Call of Duty games. Obviously, as your influencers playing Barkov, was that did that help you? Do you feel get the roles in Call of Duty Mobile and Cold War?
I'm not sure. I auditioned for all that. I didn't get an offer to do anything, because it's the two games are made by different companies, right? So that I auditioned for both separately, and it's a different casting process, different cast director. And both times I didn't know what I booked, so I recorded an audition, I sent it in, and then I was called into the studio to do it. Well, for Cold War, we had to do a bunch of stuff from my closet because pandemic happened. That was funny. So
I think a lot of voice actors have to.
It was first couple sessions were nuts, because a little closet space and I draped everything, and just the pillows, and it's a closet. I mean, come on, you can't really get anything, because it was like just 2 weeks into pandemic, so there's no toilet paper, and there's no one goes anywhere. Remember those days? It feels like forever ago, but it was just. So, and then can you record from home with tested equipment? And it works fine. All right, let's do
it. So in a closet with no toilet paper.
No, I didn't need toilet paper in the closet.
I know. So going back on the Russian thing, because like I said, I really appreciate when we get authentic actors that are actually like their characters. You feel that Barkov should have more scenes in Russian, or do you think it was evenly balanced?
I think it's evenly balanced, because here's the thing with a lot of things. And just now I did a movie called Karaganda, where I play the lead sort of guy, Russian mafia sort of thing. Guy is thrown to the camp in Kazakhstan and Soviet Union, and then comes to New York to become head of New York Mafia in Brighton Beach. That's the short version story. But everything there, most of the things there could be in Russian, because it's a bunch of Russians talking to each other. But then the decision was, how do you do that? Do you subtitle the whole film? Who's going to watch that? My wife doesn't like subtitle films, and she's it's just. It takes you out, because it's a bunch of moving pictures, and you're not looking at the pictures, you're reading. So, so it's I feel like a little bit of authenticity using language is great, but speaking foreign language too much is just distracting to most viewers. It's kind of, and it should all be in the original language, but I like watching movies. I'll watch a French movie, I'll watch an Italian movie. I like Spanish. I like, because it's a different melody, it's a different flow. So at least a little bit of it is great, but too much would probably be too much.
Yeah, fair. I agree with you on that. So we also got to see like 2 timelines of Barkov. First one when he was younger, then the actual times when he was like a little bit older. Did you had to do like a different voice for each one, or did you think it was better to just use the same tone for an older Barkov and a younger Barkov?
So there are actually 3, because first time Barkov appears is when Farah gets grabbed with her brother.
Right, yes.
So you are the 2 little guys who are killing my soldiers.
Yeah, exactly.
And then some years later, it's the interrogation and the waterboard and all that. And then with the last one, I did try to do a little more rasp, more depth, kind of. But we talked about it, and no one felt like we needed to do much to the voice. So
that's fair enough. Right. Did you just do the voice, or did you get to mocap as well, or you got to mocap?
As well? Yeah.
So were you on sort of set with everybody else there? Like Barry Sloan and
yeah. I met everyone. We worked together. They even let me play a couple of SWAT guys as because with the helmet, but motion capture, just an extra bite. I was like, may I please? And like, all right. And then of course they had a professional observing everything and controlling, making sure everyone walks correctly, because SEALs walk one way, Marines walk the other way, and it's all how you hold a gun. And I've had some training on that, but it worked all right. But motion capture and then facial capture. So there was this huge device with it was funny because in some of the scenes with when Barkov is interrogating Farah and I get real close to her, and as an act, you don't get closer than too comfortable, but it's the whole thing torturous. So we'd get our cameras with the lights would just get stuck, and we'd be like, oh, okay, hello, hi. So because they'd stick out and you don't feel how far.
So what was the chemistry like on set between yourselves and all the actors then? What was the chemistry like on set,
there's a bunch of cameras everywhere, and then you have your own piece that grabs your face, and there's just facial capture, nothing else. It doesn't do anything else. So you have like, I don't remember how many dots on your face. This looks really funny. So then every time anything moves, they can digitize it. So
is playing Barkov your favorite voice acting role then so far?
Yeah.
Because I know, of course, you had sort of smaller parts in Metal Gear Solid, and I think it's quite a large role for voice acting, really, isn't it? I mean, you play the main bad guy really in a Call of Duty game. It's I mean, obviously they have the smaller sort of bad guys, but you were there. You were the main one. Yeah, the bad guy of the Call of Duty. So that's would you consider it your favorite role then?
In this whole world, I think yes. It's it's definitely the most formidable and amazing, piece. Because there are cool things you enjoy doing, and there are a few parts maybe they'll go back to and say, it's I don't know, but like doing Warcry and Mad Max, a little part, but it's so much fun with it. It's just so ridiculous and funny and cool. But it's there's a lot of good parts, but this is just, I mean, I'm still unsure how I got it. Even it still feels like a dream, because of how important it is.
No, it's actually hard to imagine anyone else on the role. I mean, if we just had gotten the typical American actor doing the Russian accent, I guess we would be like just a generic villain. But I think you really made it your own. So yeah, I think I really appreciate that role.
Thank you.
I guess, I mean, sorry, I just love the game, so I'm gonna keep asking some other game related things. The waterboarding scene, how did that make you feel? I mean, now that we know that you also did the motion cap, so how was all of that to you?
Oh, yeah, that was. I think, well, not just for me, but for everyone right there. With an actual person, it was very unnerving and uncomfortable, and we had to talk a lot about it and make a lot of jokes and try to sort of. It is a game after all, and that was very interesting about this one in particular is that the point of the creative team was to sort of to, as they were saying, to sort of to not keep it all black and white and straightforward where good guys are just good, bad guys are just bad, and it's just so simple, but to make it more real, which is where it's all shades of gray and you don't quite know what's right, what's wrong anymore. So here, the element of torture itself is the issue. But then we try to sort of, like I said, to sort of keep it light, and it's important to have in the game because it adds an element of understanding of how dark this really is and how much Farah has to persevere.
Yeah.
So it's necessary, but just, man, it's things like that are not,
I mean, it's a very real life sort of thing that happens on a daily basis. So.
Very grounded.
I can
so
imagine
you have to, you can't have, a soldier in the war who doesn't swear. It's like, or, you can't have, it's not real if and this happens, of course. Happens, we know it, and so you can't avoid it,
No, definitely. So of course, your character is killed off at the end. Would you have liked to have maybe continued on?
I was about to ask the same.
I mean, I could only hope, but of course, everything that has a beginning has an end, said the prophet in the Matrix. But he had to die. I mean, of course, he had to die.
Yeah.
I was just kind of hoping that maybe, hey, in the zombie mode, he would
that would have been cool. Definitely.
Barkov with a little smashed face, like, "Hey, I'm back to protect Uzbekistan, and eat your heart and drink your blood."
That would have been.
That would be amazing.
I think we should start pushing for that. To be honest,
it would be so cool. Right?
That would be really cool. Yeah, we should push for that for the next Warzone update.
I was hoping.
I did expect to see you in Warzone though, as well. To be honest,
Yeah, me
I
too.
think it would have been great.
I was kind of disappointed not to see you in Warzone.
Yeah, they sort of went in a different direction though, didn't they, with the operators and things? I don't know.
They're cool operators, but yeah. I guess.
I think a character like Barkov probably would have added a bit of depth as well to Warzone. I think they could have maybe pushed a bit of the story on him as well. I mean, it's what it is, isn't it? Really, I think they brought Alex back as well for the case of Warzone. So why not?
And he got blown to hell. So.
And he only lost a leg. I mean, Barkov only got stabbed a couple of times in the chest and all that. So.
It's a possibility. It's no big deal, When
it comes to Call of Duty, it is possible.
That is Call of Duty.
So let's talk a bit about your film and TVs and stuff. You've been in quite a few, big shows and stuff. What can you, what was your favorite sort of film that you've been worked on in the past?
The favorite, I think, well. Most recent is the most active in my because we just wrapped 2 weeks ago, and that's the Karaganda is going to be hopefully a feature film, but they're talking about making it into a miniseries. But that story was great because it started with a short film back in 2013, for which I had to shave my head first time ever to play this guy, and then this director and writer, he kept the story going and tried to raise funds to film, and finally he did. So years later, it's sort of playing the same part but differently now. But everything is like this domino effect in life, I think, because I shaved my head for that part, and then I had an audition for Gang Related on Fox, and I booked the part because I was shaven and looked tougher that way. Because before that, I had like longish hair and whatever, and they were casting, a prison inmate, Russian, tattooed dude. If I didn't have my head shaved, there's no way I've booked it. So it's, that happened, and then this happened. But so that for TV shows, The Americans was very special. The character was the priest, and he ends up sort of, well, I don't want to talk about story plots, but it was a really special part. Most fun I had, I think, was a show called Ice, which is now on Stars. They brought it back. It was for Audience Network, but now it's on Stars, which has Power. Yeah. But yeah, we got to go to Canada, and we got to go to South Africa, and just the whole thing, and Ray Winstone, and like it was just so much fun shooting it. So yeah, that would be the favorites.
I guess jumping on your Karaganda role, I seen that you won Best Actor award. So how was that? How did you feel after you got the win?
Oh, really, really cool. It was Max, the director and writer. He went to the festival, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm back in LA. Let's meet for coffee." So we met for coffee, and he gives me this award, and he's like, "Here you go." I'm like, what is that?
What?
What happened? Like, well, you won the best award. Oh, okay, thank you. It's very sort of very unexpected, but cool. It's very pleasant to get something like that, because someone somewhere watched your work and said this was the best we've seen out of a bunch of films. It's yeah, I was smitten.
So we're actually winning with an award-winning actor here, and well, that makes me a little bit nervous. But I think I'll get through. So you say you shaved your head for that role. How much time did you spend with like a shaved head? How did you see yourself with a shaved head? Because shaving your head is a big deal for some people. So how was that on your end?
It was really big deal for me, because I've had long hair a couple times in my life.
Mhm.
When I was a bit younger, my whole aspiration was to buy a proper motorcycle leather jacket and grow my hair, and go to Venice Beach, because Jim Morrison used to go there, and then ride into the Death Valley on my bike, and I did that. You know, but like it's just childhood dreams. They're not as great when they come to fruition, by the way, not necessarily. But so what I did was I shaved my head the day before we started filming, so I felt utterly uncomfortable, which worked really well for the character who finds himself all of a sudden in this labor camp, gulag style. So yeah, and then I sort of got used to it. So now, before this time I shot Karaganda, I had long hair again, sort of way past shoulders, and again we had to cut it, and it was again for the same part. So it's helpful in a way, because it throws you off balance. And in acting, you don't want to be calm and balanced, because then you hide everything. Because we're trained to hide everything. We're trained to hide emotion. We're trained to think of what strangers will think of us in our behavior and how we speak, how we talk, how we dress. And as an actor, you have to throw all that aside and let the unexpected happen. So
You would say you like stepping out of your comfort zone for roles? Or do you
definitely, definitely. Comfort. Some things, they're just because I've done them before, or they just come so naturally. Like, you don't have to rehearse per se. You read the script and like, got it, no problem, let's do it. And then director would sometimes say something, but not necessarily. And then ideally, you get an actor in front of you, and then you get to play. And it's a ping pong. You listen and you react, and then whole scene changes. And I was so lucky to do that with Ray Winstone a couple times. He's
a great actor.
Yeah, he is.
He's legend. But so yeah, it's when you're comfortable, something is wrong. I feel like then I'm always gonna ask myself, why am I so comfortable? Is the character comfortable? Because then even then it's boring, because there's got to be something going on. something, you're just sitting here telling me what time it is, but or whatever. But maybe you have a sick baby at home. Maybe you got to add something, some layers.
Yeah.
Right. So on that note, on the comfort zone and doing some things that are probably above you or something, would you say that you prefer like doing voiceovers, or would you prefer to do the actual acting? I mean, you've done both, so I'm thinking you can have an opinion on that.
I would call voice acting actual acting too, but
Definitely.
sort of on camera acting definitely more attraction. I mean, I don't see why I have to pick one.
Yeah, fair.
Absolutely, no.
Absolutely, no, you can pick both.
But on camera acting is definitely more to it because when you're in a booth, it's just you imagining everything else, right?
Correct.
Which is a great journey and it's fantastic. And you have more attempts, right? So we can say, oh, give me another one, or they'll say, do a couple more or whatever. So it's really more, you can have more fun with it. But on camera acting, you most of the time you have the world around you, so you don't have to imagine the world. It is around you, unless it's blue screen, and there's a person in front of you, and that connection is everything to me. It's when two people connect and don't even say anything, it's already a scene. It's already something is always happening. Just micro reactions and then thoughts, and emotions arise. So there's much more to it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Being on site it's something special. I can tell.
Trying to see what else questions I've got now. You got anything else you want to ask Diego? Or?
Yeah. Well, I know we ask you about you done a lot of work. You've been voice actor. You've been like a screen actor. You've been a writer. I guess I would like to ask how it is when you do the writing process. How do you feel as a writer? How do you do the entire process? How do you get the work out there? How is that part for you?
Well, I feel like writer with a capital W is not really about me much. I enjoy writing very much. I haven't done anything, big or successful per se. I've done a few things, but smaller scale. I enjoy writing tremendously, and I feel it's more, in a way, it's more intimate than acting, because when you're acting, it's not really you who's been judged or looked at. It's someone you're portraying, and
Right.
that's sort of so subconsciously. It's writing is something else because you're the one coming up with all this. So even if it's not, you're hiding behind characters and saying, it's my character doing this. I would never. Sure, but you came up with that. How would you come up with that? Like, where'd you get that from? So it's somewhere within you. Some people might think, and so yeah. But it's fascinating to write a story and then to watch it be made into a film. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I imagine it is. Well, I didn't see like writing like that intimate. I know they do the war around the actors, but I didn't see it as intimate. So that's something new you learn.
It's an
I mean,
opinion.
yeah, but it's a good opinion because it's someone that actually writes. I haven't written anything else in my life other than code, so I can't really say for me. I guess I have a question. I mean, if you want to answer, it's fine. If not, we can pass. But I guess it's more to do like how Call of Duty portrays the villains and the heroes. Russians are mostly seen as evil in the Call of Duty franchise. You are now part of the Call of Duty franchise. So what is your take on that? Do you think that Russians can also be on the other side? Can we have green lines, or should they always be like the villain in there?
Well, since Arnold Schwarzenegger in Red Heat said, "Какие будут ваши доказательства?" Remember that movie? You probably have never seen it, but there was a movie like that back in like 80 something, and it's just Russians, and they're all very caricature-ish, sort of big dudes. All they're missing is unicycles, and they're pet bears. Stereotypes are great in a way because it makes storytelling easier. You say Italian guy, and there's always, you'll think of espresso maybe or something like that. Russian guy, vodka. Like what else? But there's also, the fact that Russians are the ones taking a lot of NASA satellites to space even today. There's also, this art and there are other sides to Russian everything than just being, drunk and angry all the time. So it would be cool if there was a story where it could be explored. I don't know if that's going to happen because, other sort of, I don't know who's the villain then, how. But it would be definitely cool, especially if it's some Spetsnaz who is just working together with the other Spetsnaz, and operations like that must have happened. We're not always, at war with one another. So it would be really interesting, I think, though, just even if it's not real.
Definitely would be nice to see the other side of, not everybody is evil on the other side, if you know. Obviously they portray Russia and that in the games as like evil, but it would be nice to see the other side of it. Like
Definitely,
they're not all that way. They're not all torturers. I think it would be cool.
That's generalizations like that are what's dangerous. For me, I've seen it firsthand because again, as a kid, we were doing the drills you run in the bomb shelter because American Uncle Sam with the tomahawk rocket, all they want to do is kill all the socialists in the world, and that's all they want. So when I get to Minnesota and I see all those people who are just like us, and there's no difference whatsoever, not one, and majority of people are just normal people. And majority of people in any country are just normal people.
Same with Germany in World War II. I think
it was mostly good. Same. It's like saying, every German is a Nazi. Well, that's absolutely. It's not even. There's like what yes. So same thing with Russians. It's like majority of people are just like you. There's no difference.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And well, I think Modern Warfare and Barkov, like, it's a game, so you always have someone to kill, and that someone to kill is the enemy. But from a narrative standpoint, I think that Modern Warfare, you and Barkov, we were shown like a gray representation of Russians, like not a truly evil Russian. He was just, in my opinion, like a well-intended extremist. He took some terrible actions. He performed like a lot of things that he would be hanged for. But I don't think he was like truly evil. He was just trying to, I don't know, in his mind he was trying to do what was better for his country. So I think that's like a take I could have on the character, and I don't know if you could comment on that.
It's a good take, like for again preparing for doing Barkov, I look back at all those dictators of the past who happen to have been in what is now Russia, and that's to start with Lenin, and then Stalin. They were what they did was, I mean, it's worse than Hitler, really, but
exactly.
It's but how would you come up with killing millions of people and drowning them in bloodshed for the greater good? What good? You're killing millions of people. What good? There's nothing, but yet they believed in some ideal, right? In some ideal that our future generations, 100 years from now, the whole world will just be communist and happy, or socialist and happy, or whatever else. It doesn't matter what it is, but means justify the goals, right? And sort of the defense against some of because in Russia, the game, a lot of people were very unhappy that Russian military is again portrayed as this terrible villain. Well, Barkov, remember, is not representing Russia directly. He's his
Correct.
own army.
More of a proxy sort
And
of thing.
so at the end,
yeah.
when he demands help from Moscow, they hang up on him. Literally, like, dude, you're a rogue army.
You've kind of gone overboard here. Like.
Took Russian, basically, battalion and stayed doing his own thing. And so that was kind of cool, because then we're not saying, Moscow is doing all this. We're saying this, nutcase is doing all this for Russia, but Russia is not necessarily a fan of that. So then that was cool, because again, it's not the people of Russia demand this or the government is financing this. It's more, independent.
One sole actor.
Yeah.
So which was good.
Did you do much research into anybody to get prepared for the role? Did you sort of take any sort of pointers, so to speak, on how people may have acted the same way as Barkov did in history?
I did a lot, looking at different generals, lots of them in the Americas, of course, fairly recently, lots of coups in Asia, and just Soviet generals and sort of the way they keep themselves and the way the communist army was awesome because of the sort of this righteous. I guess it's incorrect to state that, because in any country you're going to have the righteousness, whether you're saying it's freedom of speech or ideals of Lenin. It doesn't really matter. You're still as passionate about it. Yeah, but I've done a lot of looking at how those people with tremendous power, military people, how they act, how they behave, how they talk.
Definitely. Anything else you want to sort of talk about, Diego?
No. I guess I'm good. I guess I got at all my questions.
So. Other than sort of what's next for yourself, what are you working on? If you can tell us anything, what maybe anything vague.
I'm gonna go audition for something in about half an hour. So,
well, might see you again.
We'll
Brilliant. So, again, thank you so much for coming and speaking to us. You've been a great, guest, and really appreciate you taking your time to come and talk to us.
Thanks for taking time to talk to me. It's an honor.
Oh no, it's definitely the other way around. We absolutely
love
really
talking
appreciate
with
you
you.
talking. And like we said, it's the first time we've spoken to someone who's played sort of the bad guy, so to speak, in one of the games. So it's a big moment for us, and we really appreciate you coming and talking to us. So
my pleasure. Yeah.
So
we can do it again sometime.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Definitely.
Another big part, then we'll talk about that.
Well, we never know. We might see you in another Call of Duty game soon. You never know.
Yeah.
Zombie mode. Come on. Zombie mode.
Yeah, this is the first time we're speaking with the main villain of anything. So yeah we're geeking out.
Okay. Well, good. Talk to more guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Konstantin.
All right.